So I recently read this book called Nothing to Envy, Real Lives in North Korea by Demick, and this is by an American journalist who lived in South Korea for 5 years and visited North Korea a couple of times and interviewed 100 North Korean refugees or defectors, and she has piled this book full of information about North Korea and mainly focuses on the real lives of North Korea. I've been educating myself about North Korea for a long time, but this year I decided to go full on, and I've so far read 3 books this year and watched a few documentaries, and I've gotta say the books have been the most informative so far, although the documentaries really support all the information. But mainly the documentaries aren't the best place to start with, in my opinion, because in the documentaries most of the filming and photographs and everything is from Pyongyang, that is the capital of North Korea. That's the place where all the most privileged North Koreans and the most richest North Koreans live in, and everyone who visits North Korea is shown just that, just the shiniest pieces of the culture and the richest people who mainly live ordinary lives according to our standards. But that's not all of the nation. Only a few million of the nearly 30 million North Koreans live in the capital, and things aren't that great outside of the capital, even if the North Korean government really wants you to think everything is alright. So Nothing to Envy follows the storylines of about 6 people, and in every chapter we go through a different aspect of society in North Korea, and we start from the start of the socialist system in North Korea and end up wrapping up how the people defect and end up in South Korea. And what I really liked about this book is the full-on information it gives you. Even if you have no idea what North Korea is about before you read this book, I think this will tell you all the basics and more. And part of why this book was kind of slow for me at some times, because I actually knew a lot about North Korea before I even read some defector stories, and so some of the information wasn't new to me, so I kind of got bored sometimes. But the stories in this book are really interesting. It's like all of those biographies in one. So if you're looking for something to read about North Korea, I'd really recommend starting with this one, because it has loads of information for you to start with and start searching information by yourself. And there's this one particular couple in the story that they meet in very early stages of adulthood, and they both end up in South Korea eventually, but their relationship has a very different the relationship forms very differently than we in Western society have. We see the Hollywood films and the romances of a lifetime, but in North Korea romance isn't the thing that people dream about, because they don't really know about romance. Romance isn't a thing in North Korea. It took this couple 6 years to even hold hands, and the farthest they got was a peck on the cheek, and that took them years and years and years and years. But that was of course because they couldn't be together, because the girl was from a lower caste than the boy, so they knew from the get-go that the relationship couldn't last. But they still found a relationship that really made them pull through all those years, and it was the most touching story maybe of this book. And I'd like to read a poem that the man recited to Barbara Demick that he said that was a poem that made him pull through with his relationship and when he finally decided to leave North Korea. Liberty and love, these two I must have. For my love I'll sacrifice my life. For liberty I'll sacrifice my love. So now that I've told a little bit about this book, I'd like to briefly mention why I think it's really important to learn about North Korea. In the 21st century, I think if you've heard about North Korea, it's through media outlets talking about Kim Jong-un and his dictatorship, or the atomic bombs and nukes and everything and the whole military aspect of North Korea. But I think the ordinary lives, which this book really talked about, are forgotten, and the people are forgotten, and when we hear statements from North Koreans that haven't defected, they say they love their country and that they do anything for their leaders. And when you watch them, you think, well, fine, like these people seem to have everything under control and they seem to be fine. But when you search and study North Korea, you really realize that even though the person thinks they're fine, they still have no freedom. But if you know anything about North Korea, you know it's the most closed society in the world today. They don't have internet. All access to other countries is through smuggling of Chinese and South Korean goods. And these goods, movies and comics and everything that some of the North Koreans then watch, really push some of the people to defect to China and from there to maybe South Korea. And there are hundreds of thousands of people living in China, and only a small portion of them can make it to South Korea because it's really hard, because the Chinese government will always turn them back to North Korea if they find any North Koreans in their country. And so the only way you can get to South Korea is by the Mongolian border, or from the southern island countries, or by getting a fake passport and boarding a plane. But if you get to South Korea, the people are given citizenship after they go through a little bit of testing and schooling to be a part of the new Western and Asian society. North Korea is one of the last socialist countries in the world, and people were in the 90s people were really saying that, well, this is where it ends, because the Soviet Union was breaking. After the famine in the 90s, researchers were really sure that this time the socialist system would break, but it didn't happen. They somehow pulled through, even though millions of people died, and it's still running to this day. But the positive thing is that more North Koreans are getting to know that maybe everything isn't okay in their country, and learning about societies outside their own. And there have been new famines, and people are still suffering from food shortage and the cruel ways of the military, and more people are defecting by the day. Before the year 2000, just a couple of people had made their way to South Korea, but today it's tens of thousands of people. And there are actually ways where you can support these organizations that help spread the message of North Koreans in need, and I'll link them down below. But I think it's a very important thing to help these people, because most of the defectors, when they cross the line, especially the women, they have a very good chance of being trafficked. And it's a very sad story for most North Korean women who defect to go even into more miserable lives after crossing the border, which is really, really hard and dangerous. What I think has benefited me the most of learning about North Korea is really the stories of these people who have like overcome all all that has like all that the government has put in their minds, and abandoned their home country and their home people and the leader they pretty much adored like a god, and then they find out that they have been betrayed their whole lives, and these people still overcome prejudice in South Korea, and maybe loneliness of being different and of not maybe being a real part of the society, and they miss their old relatives and friends that might be persecuted in North Korea because they defected. And many of these stories are really, really empowering, and they make me feel like I have done nothing with my life that is worth something, and they really push me to become a better person and really pursue something in my life that will really make a difference in this world. And that's why I think I'd still recommend reading In Order to Live by Yeonmi, because her story was like a motivator to pursue your dreams and do everything good that you can. So thank you for watching if you're still here. I'll put links down below of documentaries you could watch and books that you could read, and the charities you could maybe donate money to. And I think this is a subject that I will never like stop learning about, because I think it's fascinating, and I think every person should like know more about North Korea than just Pyongyang and the leader Kim Jong-un, whatever stupid thing he does next, or threatens to bomb other countries or something like that. I don't want like people to just think that North Korea is something unsalvageable, and I really hope that one day their system will break and most of the North Koreans that have lived in peril will see a better life, and families will be reunited and everything like that. And I think when that day comes, it's really important to be educated. But in the meantime, keep reading and keep smiling.